There's a point in every man's life when something inside of him breaks not because he's weak, but because someone he trusted chose betrayal over loyalty. Maybe she walked away like you meant nothing. Maybe she replaced you without a second thought. Maybe she cheated, destroying the foundation you thought was unshakable. In that moment, your mind spins. Your chest tightens. You start questioning everything. Was any of it real? The instinct to react is strong. You want to scream, demand explanations, pour your heart out, and make her understand what she's done. You want to show her the pain she's caused, hoping maybe she'll feel even a fraction of it. But here's the cold truth that stings even more. She won't. Your words won't reach her. Your anger won't shake her. And trying to make her understand won't bring back what's already broken. The more you react, the more power you hand over. The more you explain, the more you look like the one who lost. And maybe you did lose her, but that doesn't mean you have to lose yourself in the process. That's where silence steps in, not the silence of bitterness or passive aggression, but the silence that comes from strength, from self-respect. It's the silence of a man who knows he has nothing to prove, who refuses to let betrayal define his worth. It's the kind of silence that echoes louder than any words ever could. She expected chaos, drama, pain she could watch unfold. But instead, all she gets is distance. That's when she realizes what she truly lost: access to your heart, your energy, your world. That absence, it cuts deeper than anger. And that, my friend, is where your power begins. Let me tell you something powerful sometimes. The greatest strength isn't in what you say, but in what you don't. History has a way of teaching us truths we often forget. Take the story of Helen of Sparta and King Menelaus. Everyone remembers the war, the passion, the betrayal. Helen left her husband, the king, for Paris of Troy, sparking one of the most legendary wars ever told. 10 years of chaos, of blood, of men dying for love and pride. And when it was all over, Troy burned to the ground. Paris was dead, and Helen stood before Menelaus once again. This was the moment people expected: fire, rage, retribution. They expected Menelaus to unleash everything he had bottled up for him. But instead he gave her nothing. No words, no anger, silence. He looked at her, turned his back, and walked away. That silence spoke volumes. Helen had braced herself for a reaction, something to confirm that she still mattered too. Him, even if it was through hate. But when he gave her nothing, it was like the ground vanished beneath her feet. That moment crushed her more than any scream ever could. Because when someone betrays you, they expect your pain. They expect you to fall apart to fight for them. To yell and cry and prove that they still hold power over you. They're forced to confront a terrifying thought. Maybe they don't matter anymore. That's the power of saying nothing. It flips the script. It changes the entire story. Silence becomes your shield, your message, your revenge. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about showing that your worth is no longer tied to someone who walked away. In that message, it lingers far longer than words ever could. There's something sacred about access to a man's inner world. When you let someone in, you're giving them more than just time or attention. You're opening doors to your thoughts, your fears, your vision, your heart. That access is rare. Not everyone earns it. And when she had that, when she could reach you anytime, feel your emotions, hear your unspoken thoughts, she had something valuable. But betrayal changes everything. The moment she chose to lie, walk away, or replace you, she lost that privilege. That exclusive access was revoked, and that's where the power of silence begins. Because now, she no longer knows what's going on in your head. She doesn't get to hear your voice, see your pain, or know if you're still thinking about her. And that lack of information, it creates a storm in her mind. She will try to find ways back in. Maybe she'll send a text just to see if you'll reply. Maybe she'll post something she knows will catch your eye. Maybe she'll throw little jabs, trying to provoke a reaction. But it's not because she cares, because she needs to know she still matters. She wants to see if she still has influence, if she can still stir something inside you. And when you don't react, when you don't respond, When you offer only silence, that's when everything shifts. Now she's the one chasing answers. Trapped in confusion, trying to solve a puzzle she broke, you take back control by offering nothing. No explanations, no updates, no emotional leaks. She's locked out, not as a game, not out of revenge, but because your peace is no longer available to someone who couldn't protect it. And that silence, it speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. Guilt is a heavy thing, but it doesn't weigh the same on everyone. When a man messes up, he usually knows it. He owns it, faces the consequences, and does what he can to move forward. But when a woman betrays a man, especially a man who loved her deeply, guilt doesn't always show up in the way you might expect. Instead of owning it, she looks for a way to avoid it. She rewrites the story in her mind to protect herself. She starts telling herself that you were too emotional, too sensitive, too demanding. And the second you argue, yell, or confront her, you hand her the tools to escape her guilt. Now you're the problem in her narrative. You're the one overreacting, making it easier for her to dismiss what she did. But when you say nothing, when you give her no drama, no explanation, no emotional outburst to grab onto, that's when her guilt has nowhere to run. She's left with herself, and silence becomes a mirror one she can't avoid. She starts to feel the weight of what she did without your words to fight against. Her mind fills in the blanks often, painting a far worse picture than reality. She'll wonder if you saw right through her the whole time. She'll start to question if you always knew she wasn't who she pretended to be. And she'd begin to feel the sting of losing a man who never tried to hurt her, only love her. Your silence forces her to face her reflection, raw and unfiltered. It denies her the ability to shift blame. And in that quiet space, her own conscience begins to speak louder than anything you could have ever said. That's the true power of saying nothing, yet doesn't let her escape what she's done in the aftermath of betrayal. Your emotions can feel like a storm, loud, chaotic, uncontrollable. Every part of you wants to react, to do something, to reach out and be heard. It feels like if you could just explain, just get one more conversation, one more chance to say your piece, maybe it would bring some peace. But that urge to act is a trap. It's not strength speaking, it's desperation. True power lies in the opposite direction. It lies in stillness. It lies in silence. It's because silence isn't weakness. It's discipline. It's self-respect. In motion. When you choose silence, you're not giving up, you're letting go. You're refusing to be pulled into someone else's chaos. You're reclaiming your energy and bringing the focus back to yourself, where it always should have been. You're no longer seeking her validation, her reaction, or her regret. You're not asking for closure because you've realized that real closure comes from within, not from someone who walked away. Every time you resist the urge to respond, you prove to yourself that you are in control, not your emotions. It's not the pain. She may try to pull you back in with guilt, curiosity, or manipulation. But silence is the wall that protects your healing, shows her, and more importantly, it shows you that she no longer has power over your inner world. And that shift, that's everything. Because a man who doesn't need to explain, who doesn't chase, who lets his actions speak through presence and peace, that's a man who is unshakable. That's a man who turns heartbreak into growth and silence into strength. In the end, it's not about making her regret losing you. It's about realizing you never needed her to see your worth in the first place.